Hey everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and today I'm taking a look at this smartwatch from a company called Mentech. This is the Mentech Watch Xe1. It's a Bluetooth sports watch. Has a lot of functionality if you're looking for something that's an outdoor sports kind of targeted device that's rugged, that has all kinds of inbuilt features and whatnot with regards to things like GPS and stuff like that. This does have a 1.2 inch round LCD screen, 5 atmospheres of ingress protection from water and things like that. It has Bluetooth 5, battery capacity of 280 milliamp hours, charging time of 70 minutes. Product weight is about 66 grams. Working temperature range minus 20 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. Max battery life of around 14 days, depending on how you're using it. You can check them out at mentech.com. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. One thing I should mention, it does supposedly have a very sunlight readable screen. So even in bright sunlight, you should be able to have no problem to view this. So overall, it comes in a really nice box here. Very nice presentation. As you can see, there's the watch inside. And you've got some more stuff at the bottom. I have a little screwdriver so you can remove, I think, the watch band. Also have a magnetic charger. So this kind of snaps on the back. USB-C. Also in here you get a little bit of information and the manual. As you can see, pretty nice looking watch. So it has all the features and all the stuff that in there. So it has a really nice feeling band. This is kind of like a silicone band. Feels similar to like what you would get from an Apple Watch or something like that. The case itself feels I don't know if it's metal or if it's like a composite material. I think it looks like it's like a composite polymer. It does have a metal bezel, and you can see the sensors there on the back. Also the 2 contacts there from where you would plug it in and charge it. So we'll go ahead and turn this on. All right, I had to plug the cable in to get it to turn on. Basically says download the Mentech Wear app on the Google App Store or the Apple App Store. So I do have that, and click on Start to Use. It's going to search for the device. Found it right here, Mentech Watch Xe1. Now it says it's pairing with the phone. Connect, yes. I need to set a few things on here. So I did go ahead and pair this with the Mentech Wear app. Here you can see this is like a standard fitness app. It asked if you wanted to share with Apple Health, which I said yes. So it will sync some of the settings there, or sync some of the steps and weight and all of that. Exercise, sleep, heart rate, weight, blood oxygen, stress level, VO2 max, respiratory rate, body energy, heart rate variability. Those are the kind of default things that show up there. For training, there's outdoor cycle, run, outdoor walk, hiking, indoor run, indoor walk. Now, I'll have to double check that because I thought there were a few more than that, but regardless, right? So there are some training modes. Obviously, this is the device, and you can, connect here, and then you have your profile with personal records, settings, around data synchronization, data sharing, those sorts of things. It's all kind of in there. You can check for updates and update the firmware of the watch as well. Yeah, and basically that's what the app looks like. And then with regards to this itself, it's really hard to see. I don't know, like my lights are a little bit bright here. But there's a default watch face, as you can see. You can change that, kind of just push and swipe and whatnot. You can swipe down, you can see your notifications. If you swipe up, you can get to the menu settings. So changing the brightness, flashlight, you can do settings on here, see the battery level and all of that. And if you push over again, you can look at activity data, exercise, workout records, heart rate, SpO2, stress. So basically all the apps on the watch you can see here and flip through them. This does have a timer, stopwatch, alarm, music control, weather, barometer, compass, body energy meditation, some of the other things that show up there as well you can get to on the watch itself. And then there's basically just a couple buttons here, right? So this button kind of navigates back and forth. This one also just goes to the sports modes. So wherever you are, you can start a workout. You can pause it. I can stop it. It's pretty responsive, the device itself, right? So clicking around, swiping and that sort of thing, it's pretty quick. Just by nature of this display, maybe that's why it's a little bit, this is the highest brightness, but I can still see it, right? It just doesn't come across really great on the camera here. It looks a little bit dim, but that is because it has the ability to see it well outside, right? So when you're outside and you're looking at it, it kind of has one of those almost like e-ink looks to it, right? It's not an e-ink display, but it kind of has that look, so you can still read it no matter how bright it is, which is a little bit different than things like the Apple Watch in the way that they do their brightness and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take a look at this and wear it for the next few days. So I'll sleep with it, I'll kind of wear it around, have it track my heart rate, my blood oxygen levels and all of that. And then on the tail end of this review, I'll kind of talk about my thoughts on how I thought the watch performed, if I had any issues with it, and then show you a screen recording of some of the data here and go over and just talk about how it compares to something like my Apple Watch from, because I have a good sense of how Apple tracks everything. We'll compare it to this, at least, my gut feeling of how this was after a handful of days wearing it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll jump over to the second half of this video and this review and talk about my experience. So let's hop on over there. So I just want to show here, this is what the watch looks like when it's on and you're kind of in the daylight and then the screen goes off. You can still see it, right? And I'm just recording this in front of my computer with the lights turned down a little bit just so you can see what the screen looks like and all of that. This is at the highest brightness and it's pretty bright. The one thing I would say, like as opposed to what you might see on the Smartech website, because of the screen and the readability in the sunlight, it doesn't look as kind of like AMOLED as you would think based on some of the screenshots and promotional pictures that you would see, right? So it is it's not an AMOLED display. It's a very good LCD, as you can see. The brightness goes up pretty well. The brightness also can go down a few levels. But, just keep that in mind. It's a little bit different than like an Apple Watch or something like that. So here I'm just kind of going through a bunch of the different sports modes and whatnot, and there's like 110 different sport modes, although you can only have favorited in the exercise wheel about 20 at a time. So you can add 20, but then you have to remove some if you want to add additional ones. You can also view the workout records that you have performed on the watch. You can check your heart rate, like all of the standard features you can access through the watch itself and view that, whereas you can also then view those within the app, which I'll show in a little bit. But then you have settings, which you can look at, different watch faces that you can set here. And on the device, you can store 5, so you can load those through the app. But if you want to add a new one, you have to delete one of the ones that you have, right? So there's only 5 that you can load at any given time to switch between on the watch. But there are quite a few different, as you can see, kayaking, mountain biking. Some of them require GPS position, some of them don't. I was indoors, so it wasn't going to find a GPS location, obviously indoors. But it has barometer built in and things like that. So from a sensor perspective, it's pretty cool, right? And I'll show you when I go into the other app, on the phone. Depending on the sport that you are using, there's different output and different things that you can view.
as it's related to that. So it gives you the different statistics and stats that are appropriate for the sport that you're doing. So from the app perspective, the app is called Mentech Wear. And as you imagine, you can go in and look at all of the different fitness statistics and just sensor statistics that the watch is capturing, right? So you can look at day, week, month, year for fitness. It tells you, summaries of things like that. That's that top area. It also records all the different sports that you might have done. So these are all sports that I turned on the watch, right? So for instance, here's an outdoor cycle, and it keeps track of, your speed, your heart rate, whether you're in heart rate zones, all kinds of different things, altitude, real-time pace. So it does make use of the GPS to do all this. You don't have to have your phone with you to record those types of workouts, which is nice. Also kind of like an indoor cycle, indoor run, outdoor cycle, orienteering, which is kind of like, hiking, I guess, or whatnot, keeps track of all this information. And it's actually really pretty nice. And, there's a level of detail you get here that you don't get on things like even the Apple Watch. So, which I think is nice. For sleep, it does seem to do a pretty good job recognizing different stages of sleep. For me, this did not seem like it was too much different than what my Apple Watch would track on a daily basis, which is my normal device. So I think it seems pretty good. Captures your heart rate, respiratory rate, your deep sleep stages and all of that, which is nice. Heart rate, similar sort of thing, kind of keeps your daily heart rate, records all of that, gets your resting heart rate. You can look at it over the week, month, year, etc. Same thing for oxygen, blood oxygen levels. Here, I guess I noticed, sometimes 3 or 4 in the morning, my blood oxygen goes down a little bit, which is interesting. But it's nice to be able to see like this level of detail. And I believe it's probably pretty accurate. Just again, in regards with comparing it to Apple. Respiratory rate, that captures that as well. Have anything to say because I guess it's kind of in the normal range. They also have this body energy, which kind of, I guess, shows to summarize like, hey, when you've recovered and like when you're consuming energy based on your exercise activity and stress levels and things like that. I don't know what that chart looks a little weird at the end there where it's kind of going up and down, but most of them, as you would imagine, kind of like, you kind of expend energy over the course of a day. So it's interesting data to see, I guess. And then it also has heart rate variability, as you can see. I'm kind of on the borderline of normal with regards to this app, so I'm not really sure if that's accurate or not. And then in other parts of the app, there is a training bit, and I think this one does include like some AI training or just like helping you get through some of these sports and doing training in there. But these are the ones you can see in the app. There's only a handful, right? It's not all the ones that are on the device itself. Now here, you can look in the watch face market and download a bunch of different watch faces. And like I said, you can only install 5 on the device. Device management can upgrade the firmware if you need to, etc. And overall, this app allows you to set all the settings that you would expect with regards to notifications and call notifications, alarm clocks, all the typical health tracking, things like that. All the things that you would normally expect to see in an app, you'll see here. The only one thing I noticed is there's a few different misspellings here and there. Like I think at one point you might have saw it said, instead of perfect, it said prefect. So there's a few little quirky UI things like that. But overall, the app is pretty compelling from just a functionality standpoint. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of what this smartwatch is about. Again, this is the Mentech Xe1 Smartwatch. Did the unboxing, kind of wore it for a few days, kind of got some feedback based on just, how accurate I think some of this stuff is from a sensor and sports recording perspective. And I think overall, it seems like a really pretty nice device. You can check it out on Mentech's website. I will link to this in the description. Right now, the price is $199, which I guess if you look at the ability and the number of sports that it can track and the depth of information that you can get out of it, I think is a pretty good deal. The battery seems to be really pretty good. I used it for 4 days and it went from 70 something percent or 84% that it was when I got it down to 50% or something like that. And I didn't even charge it. So I think that's pretty good overall after running the GPS and whatnot for a few different of those sports that I was trying to record. So overall, pretty happy with this. If you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. This is Andrew from T is for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.